The brothers Wisp. The brothers Wisp, brothers Wisp. The brothers Wisp. The brothers.
You're now listening to Greg, it's the Brothers Wisp. Let's take a ride through space on this mothership. Wireless networking, we talk about equipment and methodology, so sit back and start learning. Lighten up the time.
Hey everybody, just doing the advertisements because we were short on time again for this cast. The Brothers Wisp is brought to you by Sonar, a scalable, intuitive, and comprehensive ISP billing and operational support system. Learn more at Sonar.Software. TowerCoverage.com. Tower Coverage is your RF propagation system to empower your network, real-time data metrics, enable your coverage area, reaching your customer base, and more. The industry's best RF propagation mapping system allows website integration for customer sign-up and pre-qualification. Use this data to scientifically plan network expansion and help your WISP succeed. Get a free trial today at TowerCoverage.com. Pre-Seam is an edge network QoE solution that enables proactive management of the network and subscriber experience to achieve higher customer satisfaction while lowering operational costs and increasing revenue. Pre-Seam is made by Atero Networks, whose goal is to enable local and regional ISPs to thrive by solving network problems with products that people love. Launched in 2017, Pre-Seam has helped more than 400 ISPs in the US and around the world deliver better internet to subscribers. I bet you that they are a little bit higher than that nowadays. And then we're also brought to you by, last but not least, Villo, a complete mesh Wi-Fi hardware and remote management solution that empowers WISPs of any size to delight your customers, reduce your operating costs, and grow your business. Designed with input and feedback from the ISP community, Villo is proud to be a trusted partner of over 150 ISPs around the world. I will try to be harassing everyone again. I did get a hold of Sonar, they were talking, and Tower Coverage, and Villo has promised. I will bug them all, and we will continue working on getting these changed up, guys. Before we get to the cast, I would like to thank all of our Patreon donators. You guys are awesome. You guys make all this stuff possible. And if you'd like to support the cast, feel free to go to patreon.com/thebrotherswisp. Throw us a couple bones there. You can join in and participate in the Slack group. And, you know, there's always lots of good information there. Guys helping. We've got people doing buy-sell trade stuff. We've got reps there, and so lots of really good talk and conversations and super interesting stuff. So if you'd like to participate, get help from guys, and or just maybe sometimes a lot of times I'm just pop in there and ask like, hey, check myself before I wreck myself. Is this crazy or not? Or is there basic ideas that I'm just missing here? So really, really beneficial and helps keep the cast running and pay for all the fun stuff. So y'all have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the cast. Hey everybody, this is Tommy with the Brothers Wisp. Today we're just going to be talking installer fun stuff. To my left, I have John. Say hi, John.
Yeah.
Actually, so here's what we'll do. Make this a little bit bigger. And then down here we have another guy who some people have been seeing on the forums a lot recently. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Where are you based out of these days?
Well, for about another week, Indiana, and then I'll be out in Virginia.
Yeah, you were telling me that it's like, this could be a little bit of a tight cast. I got to move.
Yep.
Yeah. So I met Mark back at the Indianapolis Network Operators Group meeting. And we just chatted hardware and doing stuff the hard way. And it was so much fun chatting. And now he's not an installer anymore. He is actually working for Villo, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I moved up in the world, I guess.
Yeah, or down, whichever way.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Manufacturer
I like
side is
Villo.
very different, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, so I'm just, because we're a little bit on a tight schedule, I'll be doing the y'all have already listened to the advertisements already. So let's get into it. So what I was thinking, and the brilliant plan that I had was, Christmas is coming up, and some of our guys may have loved ones who may be wondering what to get them. And I have a massive Facebook post that I cannot find now, about like all the tools that I have found I needed for installs. And I was like, well, let's just talk about the cool stuff that we use on installs, and like what makes the world like go round for an install. And John has just been like sending me list item after item after item. So maybe I should just share my screen for y'all and see what, if maybe we start commenting on that, because I hope it's good. There's nothing that's going to make me cry. All right,
Oh,
let's see
there
here.
probably will be, but
Okay.
I
Yeah,
have tested all of these personally. So.
okay. Well, let's see here. There we go. Boop. Let's make this, actually I should have just, so Kinipex electrician shears. Okay, so this is a little bit different than the ones that I like.
Ooh,
These ones are
I
a
do
lot
like
metal.
those. They've got the little groove in them. And so they're basically just fiber shears, which I love. That's what I use for everything.
Okay.
But having that little groove is pretty stellar.
Yeah, that's for desheathing, right?
Yeah,
Looks like.
and I do use those for fiber as well, and they work perfect for that.
Yeah, they do.
They
They
do
cut the
have a
Kevlar really
different.
well.
They do have a different version, but
Mhm.
like these are incredibly comfortable, and then their other ones are incredibly uncomfortable, which
Yeah,
amazes me.
I'm guessing that would be these ones.
Those
Ish.
aren't Kinipex.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we can find
Kinipex
some.
does have another one.
Well, they do. Those ones look incredibly uncomfortable. So I've always used this style for my Ethernet cables, and the reason I love them is this edge right here is perfect for straightening Cat 5 cable or Cat 6. So when you're wanting to punch down or do anything with Cat 5e, or anything Cat, you need to straighten out those wires, and that these ridges here are just amazing. And then if you use gel filled, or I just called it this white goo of horribleness cable, we use that all the time at my old job, and that, like, this was perfect for getting that goo off of it, so it wasn't just going everywhere and being an awful mess.
I just use my fingers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would too, other than I like to not have goo all over my fingers all the time. So
I think I just now, nope, I still have like tar on my hands. That's been there for
Am
like
I
a
the
week.
only one who keeps toilet paper in my tool bag for multiple uses?
I have gator wipes that I'm always out of, and my wife tries to keep that like stocked with that, but I always go through them because we do so many commercial installs and like retrofitting like older buildings and things like that, that we're always doing specialty stuff. Yeah, we keep shop towels in as well.
yeah, I have
Yeah, you
bought
should just keep shop towels with you.
Yeah, I have bought a golden toilet probably for whoever owns this company. Because that is a like guaranteed, you are going to be having, oh yeah, one of these boxes in my truck all the time. I just like, if I'm going into a customer's house, I just pull one out because I know I'm going to make some sort of a mess, and it just goes in my back pocket. And like what I used to do actually is I would take 2 or 3 of these and put them down underneath a wall, when I was cutting a hole to put in a wall plate or whatever. Put them underneath, maybe like douse them a little bit with my water bottle or whatever to make them stick and like fit right in the corner. And then it would catch most of the dirt. And you'd still need to do a little bit of cleanup afterwards. But if you do that right underneath and you're careful, that was like, man, I've spent, as I said, but man, a golden toilet. All right, so what's this one? RJ45 connector. Shield.
You know, I have sat on a golden toilet in Saddam's palace, and it felt just like every other toilet, minus the fact there was a golden bidet right next to it.
Oh, he was a bidet guy.
He was.
Bidet guy. I will duly note, and that's now the best argument I've ever run across for not using a bidet. All right, so waterproof RJ. So is this like female, and then you can just go?
And
okay,
it actually does pass through ground. Double check that. Not all of the shielded couplers they'll say shielded, but they won't pass the ground through.
So are you going to use that just as like a an outdoor coupling, or is that more like fixing a cut cable and you're burying it again?
We don't directly bury any cable, but it's usually on the mounts. So that way, if the cable does get damaged, usually like right before or right after it goes through a wall, we'll put a coupler just to save time and doing any repairs and things like that. So that way we can just like replace radio if need be, replace like 10 feet of the cable instead of having to replace the entire run. We'll put couplers like before.
Would you just put like a NID or something up too, like a Mimosa or Ubiquity NID?
Yeah, exactly. We used to use the Mimosa ones.
I hate how the door opens sideways. It just gets water in. I love the Ubiquity one that opens up from the bottom, just because there's less water intrusion, I found.
Yeah.
I never had too much issue with water intrusion with the side because but maybe there was a later model that had this
rubber gasket.
If I recall, that gasket. I'm not certain if the older ones had this gasket. The
door could come open easier. Yeah, you could you could still zip tie it down there at the bottom, but when you're looking at that and it's the same price as the Ubiquity model, to me it wasn't much of a choice.
And the Ubiquity one, this one's actually pretty good. Sorry for the audio only guys, but the NID. Let's see, where is it? Let's just go shopping. So this is it. So its door comes down. The issue I actually ran into with these ones is
oh my guys lost the doors.
Well, so I had a guy who seemed incapable of actually like tightening making certain anything was closed. And so I came to and it was either didn't have the door or it was like hanging or on the ground. I'm like, how? It's not like this is rocket surgery here, guys.
Yeah.
So I that was my only complaint with
installers will find a way to challenge any idea you come up with.
Yeah.
Installers will find a way to ruin any brilliant plan we engineers come up with. Without it. And it's a little actually, that was the other thing. It was a couple bucks cheaper most of the time when I was looking for them. As far as I could tell, there was really no difference as far as like the grounding shielding protection and such. I looked up both spec sheets and it was like, well, my previous boss was like, well, when you're on Mimosa installs, you need to use the Mimosa one. When you're on Ubiquity installs, use the Ubiquity one.
Why? They both work for each other.
He
Just
went
pick
out
the best
sometime
one.
and saw that the logos didn't match, and it drove him crazy, I bet.
Well,
Yeah.
so to be fair, we didn't use these freaking ever. It was the only all right. So the only time we actually used them was as Ethernet, like as instead of using the that little female to female connector that John just sent over here, instead of those on the outside, or if there was, I remember 2 or maybe possibly 3 times where we actually had a customer who had some sort of weird grounding issue in their house, and we actually used it as a ground and we ran the ground wire to it. Besides that, I'm terrible. I'm always harping on people about grounding stuff. I never did it. I'm a terrible human being. I have like hundreds and hundreds of installs out there without using these. So I'm a terrible person. Don't follow my.
Yeah, I mean, because it's
Do what I say,
such
not
a
what I
good
do.
idea to run to power every single time instead of directly in. It's just so
Yeah.
hard, unless your state, requires it. I think Minnesota is one of those. If you've chatted with Mark Blood at all, he'll tell you, they'll shut you down and pull your permit.
Yeah, see, Colorado didn't even require a permit or like a license for low voltage guys. So you basically could just hire and do whatever the heck you wanted, and no one said or cared. To be fair,
God
like,
bless Indiana too.
yeah.
Thankfully, like here, Arizona, we don't have anything for low voltage either. Anything under 60
Arizona's
volts.
the best state ever. Your license is good till you're 60 years old too.
Yeah.
What do you mean by licensing?
Your driver's license.
Your driver's license.
You get it once.
Yep. You can buy a license that's good until you're elderly, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, duly noted.
And then it's every 4 years after that too. So
yeah. So then mostly they just check your vision. And that's it. We all know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
the map
did you get my picture?
Oh, let's see. Let me pull up.
Yes, pull up Facebook and pull up my picture.
All right. Yeah. So the map. Oh, this is your power. Yeah.
Yep. This is my power supply. So I had a Mikrotik, not to be confused with Mikrotik, but a Mikrotik PoE bank. It did 48 volt and 24 volt. Plus, it had a readout on the side showing how much was left. It also acted as a USB bank for your phones, and then it did 12 volt as well with the round power DC power cords, so that you could power multiple types of devices.
I sent a link for a similar one as well. I've had better luck with their battery packs. I have a pile of Mikrotiks here with bad cells. So that's been...
I had really good luck, minus the fact guys kept losing them or dropping them off towers.
Well,
even though I had a nice little bag and everything for it.
This is the one that you guys were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, it doesn't have a column meter. It is just a voltage sensor in there. So the battery level is not accurate at all. As soon as it goes to 99%, it's actually dead. Because
I didn't have that, but yeah, I mean, once it hit like 20 or 30, sure, yeah, it was toast. But
like I literally have a bunch of these tore apart because I've been putting new battery packs in them. Because there's a little screen.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the Mikrotiks, but I've just been putting new batteries in them because they've been
okay, so then you like this Shankui
yeah
mini UPS
I've
battery
seen that.
backup. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool too.
the one thing I like, it just takes 120. It has a 12-volt charger just in the casing there that's thinner. So it actually fits in my pockets because I have the big 511 pants. And it does do 4 in series. So actually it's more like a 15-volt battery instead of the Mikrotik has a 3 in series, which is like almost 12 volts. But if you charge it 13 volts, you're actually overcharging it. That's why its charger is a weird 12 point something.
Yeah, his
voltage.
charger's hard to replicate.
Oh yeah.
So this is on the high side of the voltage. So it's makes your boost converter to 24 and 48 volts more reliable because it's not taking the voltage as high. And you don't got to worry about finding special voltage chargers. You just use one of those 120s, plug it in, and you're
You know,
good to
I
go.
just realized we never told anybody what we're using these packs for.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, so your picture actually has a bit of an interesting version. So it looks
Mhm.
like you're using it for a Wi-Fi hotspot for configuring equipment, right, Mark?
Yep, that's what I do. You can program any type of gear that we had one of the jobs I was at. So, and Cambium, Ubiquiti, an access point, it doesn't really matter. So if something defaulted up on a tower, but maybe your tower climber is not the hottest to trot when it comes to reprogramming an AP, something like that. And you're not running cable straight to the ground. This is what you can do. You can go up and just pop it in, and it's 2.4. So typically, someone on the ground can program it up for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely lets your ground crew be more helpful. So we had
Also LTU.
because it only has Bluetooth, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Which never works on towers, really.
Yeah, that's a
Or
good
you
point.
I've had a
like-
lot of good luck with this. Just aiming dishes so that your installers can do everything from their phone. They can
Yeah.
program routers from their phone. They can aim and program dishes from their phone, check in and out of jobs on their phone.
Yeah.
So in theory, until they're doing a speed test in the home, hardwired, they don't even need to touch a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely, the more that you can just use your phone, because I've dropped a laptop off of a roof more than once. To be fair, that laptop made it through both rooftop walls. It was a Dell kid. What do you guys actually use for your computers? So what mine was a Dell kid, like it was meant for a school, and so it was like this 11-inch, and it had like a rubber border around the edge. It was beautiful, and they stopped making them, which is horrible. But it was like a 2-core Celeron processor. The battery would last for like 3 or 4 days. It was amazing. I loved the thing.
The installing teams that I ran lost everything. I mean, it's just lost it, decided to set 300 pounds of steel on their book bag that I gave them to protect it. You don't know. It was a challenge. So I never got anything nice towards the end. It was just, I wanted to get stuff that was replicatable.
What about you, John? What do you guys use for your laptops?
I'm searching it right now. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Okay.
They are kind of overly expensive, but I may or may not have found somebody on OfferUp that gets them at too good of a discount.
I tried to keep it at 100 to 150 bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I installers, I don't think I could justify over a $250 laptop.
Okay,
It was just,
I'm way too nice.
Maybe
Uh,
your guys are good to you too, though.
yeah, maybe.
Guys or gals, they're probably maybe a little more responsible than. I mean, every
Yeah.
team is going to be different, you know.
Yeah.
What's the average age of your team, John?
Um, all over from like 19 to 68. One of my best
You're sending a
installers is going to.
68-year-old out there to do
Actually, he's one of our
installs.
best guys. He's been
Well, I'm sure
climbing
he is,
towers.
but you haven't found something to like do for in the office for this guy.
Oh, he would go nuts. He would quit. You do not put that man in an office.
Oh man, don't let him die on a tower, John. Keep close tabs on him. He probably is like me. He's stubborn. He won't quit
Oh yeah.
until he's made to quit.
Oh, he won't. Like he's retired like 4 times, and he
Wow.
lasts a month every time.
This is a like very nice laptop. This is quite possibly nicer than mine.
That's nicer
thought-
than what I'm using.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought I was being like babied with my like Lenovo laptop that I was like, I want this because I really like this.
So
This is pretty slick.
we do not have any Windows computers in our company. I'm proud of that.
The French would appreciate you.
Yeah, so I run Alma Linux with the Fedora kernel loaded on those. Full touchscreen works. Runs a lot better. Anytime I've not wiped and put Linux on them and just gave them out to guys with because they come with Windows 11, guys are like, this freezes up and everything, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's Windows still. Give me a minute. And they run beautiful on Linux. And the one thing that they really like is Linux. It will save your like IP information with the Wi-Fi network. So when I set up the installer radios and stuff like that, it already has a static IP on it and everything to log into the radios and stuff, to where Windows does not.
That is true. I actually kind of really appreciate that. That is very nice.
Yeah.
What's the training process like? Because Linux is not for everyone. Do you just have, I don't want to say this in a bad way, do you have a higher level of intelligent installer? Are they just
Absolutely
more
not.
capable, or do you have a nice training pipeline or something that you're doing?
It's me and my wife are the 2 trainers. So we train everybody hands-on. We don't have a classroom or anything like that. It's like, nope, our classroom is usually like our regular like MDUs and trailer parks. And the thing with Linux, it's for what they're doing, it's not that different. Like connecting to Wi-Fi, we put on Mozilla Firefox, open up the browser, we have everything bookmarked.
So you're not giving them any extra tools, or basically it comes preloaded and they're only doing set functions. So you've simplified it, is what you've done. Okay, so you've made a tool that's a little more self-contained, and there's, less free thinking involved.
Yeah, then that's the other
wow,
thing. Like
Mark,
Linux,
you're saying that Windows is the free think option here?
It's just what everyone's comfortable with, so like would you do like simple things like someone needs to run an IF config? Do you have a script built for it, or did you just teach them that?
now like that I do teach them that, but usually I haven't needed to do that, because I just take the MAC addresses of our laptops and they'll pull the same IP address every time on whatever network that they're on.
So
like
they're not
if they
doing
need,
like advanced troubleshooting per se.
no.
Okay.
Even we also broker a lot of internet connections. So like if they're not in our coverage area, we can resell any of our other carriers. And I prep those routers, and I only use Mikrotik ARM for those, which I put 0 tier on. So that way, whenever they plug it in, they just put it in our Teams chat or WhatsApp chat, and one of us logs in and configures the router and everything like that. So they literally plug it in and walk away. And
Gotcha.
we have them run.
So you're doing more of
speed tests
a
and
knock assisted.
Mhm.
See, my philosophy was always, and depending on the person, you'll fail sometimes, but I
Yeah.
wanted to empower the field team as much as possible, to take the pressure back off of anybody in the office, the knock, so that way we could get more call volume in, for support.
Yeah.
So I tried to have, as much training as possible for them so that, they could program up, and reprogram everything on a tower, that they don't need that advanced level that, I don't believe in tier 1 people. Everyone should be tier 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You can take anybody and turn them into at least a tier 2 type of tech or phone support.
Mhm. We do that once our installers have proven themselves. Like they've been with us like more than 6 months. They've been responsible, on time, reliable, not calling out because their dog is having a panic attack. Yes, somebody stole dog for that. And
I support that.
I'm just like, I grew up on a farm. I'm like, I'm sorry. If your dog is that like little of courageous, it is not a good tool. Like, we don't have
Yeah.
pets, we have tools. And but once they've showed up, proved themselves, we invest more time. But until then, like all of our installers, we don't have employees, they're all contractors. And it's yeah, we invest the time that they invest in caring about their work. And
That brings up an interesting point. Do you hire in-house or do you hire contractors? I'm sure everyone's got a different school of thought on that.
Mhm.
How are you getting that loyalty out of them? Do you have enough work to feed them all the
Yeah.
time, and it's pretty much just a full-time gig?
Yeah, basically it's like we have the work, and thankfully all of the other internet providers and stuff like that around here are the same. They're all contractors. They don't employ anybody that goes up a ladder. And we are actually the highest paying. Everybody around us, we actually had contracting companies calling and complaining that we were paying our guys too much. That they're like, why are you paying them so much? Like you should pay them market rate. And
Yeah.
we pay double. They pay like $30 to $60 an install. We pay 60 and up. And they were all pissed at that.
Interesting. So, like, what then is your like? How long do you expect it to take for a guy to figure out how, like, when you pick somebody up, you expect them to know how to run a wire into a house and all that?
No.
Okay.
We've done some of our better installers were like friends of my wife when we first started, and they were makeup artists. But they paid attention to detail, they followed instructions, and we run them through 2-3 installs and they were usually good to go. And
Training from the ground up is almost so much better than bringing. I've argued this before where people say I need to pick up like an ex Comcast or ex AT&T guy. I'm like, oh no, you don't.
Yeah.
You absolutely don't. They're going to come with 20 years of bad habits.
Exactly.
And that is impossible to break. They're going to know how to take all the shortcuts. You don't want that. You want to just teach them the right way to start. And if they start taking shortcuts later, then, you know, they're not really in it to win it, and you can deal with it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can also like catch them in the shortcuts and help them to stop quite possibly. So yeah, no, that's definitely been my experience. Is if you can get a guy who's fresh and like you can just indoctrinate them yourself. I say
If you got the time to put into it. Yeah.
It does take a lot of time training from the ground up. Like for me, my place, they didn't let me go on my own installs for 2 months at least. And I was the fastest guy to get my own truck. I think it was like 2.5 something months before I was like sent out on my own. And I'm like, I remember my first job where I was like on my own. I'm just like, wow, they're actually letting me like do all this. Well, I'm so cool. I'm such an adult. Still an idiot. Took me forever. I was always a terribly slow installer, but that was because I was bad about like getting all my tools in my tool belt. I would just go back and forth between my truck all the time.
So John, what's your standard for install time on just an average dish on an Eve, and run a cable in, program a router, and get out?
Our average time is usually around like 40 minutes to an hour and a half. So
How much time
on
do you
average, our
allocate?
guys,
How much time do you allocate?
2 hours. Usually, like if they're not off the site by 2 hours, we're checking on them. Like, are you alive? Did you fall off the roof? And
What about your
like
guys,
commercial.
Tommy? How long are they running an install for?
So I make them do a bunch of ticket stuff, like and documentation. So I give them 2.5 to 3 hours for an install. If back when at my old place when we weren't making them like document everything and such, I had one guy who he could do an install in an hour. Even if it was like a little bit more complicated, it was like he had everything always laid out. He had all of his tools perfectly set up. He like understood how houses were built. Like he'd be like, nope, this is where the gas line's going to be. Don't drill there. Drill over here. Okay. Lo and behold, there was no gas line there. He was just, all that stuff. He just always had an eye for everything. He was fast. And so you could give him 5 or 6 installs in a day and he'd be done early.
So it brings up a good point too. Everyone's out there looking for help. You know, everybody in this industry is struggling for help. So what kind of person do you go after? You know, everybody, you know, for installers typically needs someone younger that's got some longevity in them, you know, let their knees go bad on the tower after 5 or 10 years, not start that way. You know, your 68-year-old guy, John.
He's we say like he's kind of human, but he is definitely not the norm for sure, because he still does 400+ foot tower climbs, and
Jeez.
he'll outpace any 20-year-old. And
yeah, it probably keeps him young.
Yeah.
So
I've got an uncle like that. Yeah.
My thought is you go after young guys who have done some construction, but have a like a gaming or some kind of geeky background, you know, and a little harder to find, but at the same time, you know, larger sample size, right? Because construction, you know, there's so much out there for it. And typically you have to work hard. You already have to be ready for the weather, you know, things like that. So you're not going to be afraid of winter. You know, a little bit of rain, you're not going to melt. You know, you already got some of that toughness that like an installer requires.
Yeah. That's who we used to be going for. Anymore, we've been going after more of like 35 and older. Mostly just because of I don't know like what like culture is going through the US right now, but it's for employees, it's the entitlement has gotten a lot more, like a lot worse through COVID, to where it's like the 20 to 25-year-olds just, they want everything handed to them, and they believe like you should be bringing them glasses of champagne to the sites and shit.
It's a little more rare to find
yeah,
the right breed. Yeah, I'll
to
give you
where
that,
like
yeah.
somebody that appreciates work, and they know that that's not, they're not entitled to that, that it is a privilege to be able to
I
support
think
yourself and your family, and that seems like it's been more and more forgotten.
I think what some of it is not to spend too much time on it, but everyone's pushed to go straight to college. They feel like they're good until 22. No one's ever been on the struggle bus. You know, no one ever got out of school at 18 and said, "Great, how am I going to afford to live?" Like, you know, nobody got kicked out.
I got kicked out at 14.
Yep, exactly. So, you know, everyone's just kind of getting to hang around mom and dad too long, and it makes them a little soft.
My best hires have always been out of the community colleges local.
Yeah.
So like the place where I went, places I went actually, I usually made friends with a teacher somewhere in the IT department, and I could just ask him like, hey, you got any guys who, are tough guys, for installers, or you got any smart guys who like maybe are struggling? I had one guy. This kid was brilliant, electrical, like he was electrical engineer material, but he had a bunch of health issues, but we got him because he'd just finished his degree for like auto mechanic stuff, and no one would hire him because he was missing half his foot and a couple fingers from health issues. And like I got him, and he was the best level 2-3 technician I've ever had. Oh my gosh, that guy was perfect. He cared, he loved his job. He and yeah, so community college stuff. But that's kind of where I go, is the local colleges, and just see like what's going on. And guys there usually are paying for their own schooling, so they're looking for a job that could be flexible. But so back onto tools a little bit. This power wheel. Oh, we lost Mark, maybe.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You just killed your camera for a minute.
Chasing a dog.
Okay. So what do you use this power wheel adapter, and what do these Milwaukees need to have wires, John?
So if what we showed earlier, the battery power supply, if those die, because sometimes we do 10 plus installs a day, we'll use our drill batteries to plug into the maps, and then power up our radios from there, because 18 volts is still enough to get them booted and things like that, since the amperage is there.
Yeah, let's see.
Then
I
we
think
have
the map is like what? It just needs like 7 watts or something like that.
Yeah,
and it has a huge power range. I can't remember. It's
8 to 57 volts.
Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. That's why Mikrotik is awesome.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. So you just power stuff straight off of that. That's handy dandy. And then the Milwaukee batteries have their own built-in battery babysitter, right?
Yeah, they have their own BMS and everything, so you don't got to worry about that. We've actually put them in series before as well. So it's like we've taken 18 to the like 32 volts, and that's hasn't hurt the batteries at all, and it's helped us, like if something was more sensitive where it needed like to get to 48 volts or close as possible, like some of the Cambium radios and stuff like that, they've been fine just putting 2 Milwaukee batteries in series. And I actually I sent you the link as well to the electrical lever nuts electrical splices to make it quick and simple for the guys in the field as well. These stepper bits are awesome.
Yeah.
We use them pretty much all the time. Instead of trying to get a drill bit like for the exact size of what we need, we always use our like cheater drill bits to get things done, especially putting through all thread through poles and things like that.
Yeah. So all right. So when you're punching a hole through a wall, what size bit do you guys use?
Oh, for the cable,
Mhm.
it's usually what was it?
3/8 all day.
Yeah, 3/8 to 5/16 depends on. I think our fiber is like 5/16, and then our regular Cat 6 is 3/8.
My gosh, 5/16 for everything for me.
Mhm.
I hate the 3/8 hole. It just feels so big. That said, there was a time when we had these plastic inserts for the little grommets that they
Mhm.
just wouldn't fit in the 5/16, and I hated those, and I had to use the 3/8 bit. So
Yeah, everything's designed for the coax world, and you have to adapt.
that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because the
that is
coax
true.
world invented installing pretty much. So
Yeah, and running the cable in. So yeah, actually, this morning I was looking at an old post somebody made of they wanted to have CPE radios running coax instead being power over coax and being Mocha instead of Ethernet. And I was like, I remember like looking at that and being
Cool.
like, that's a terrible idea. No, please, no manufacturer ever read this and be like, that's a great idea. We'll do that.
Ooh, that's just
coax is a whole different animal.
Yeah, it's so tough. But
So just out of curiosity, before we get too tight on time, other than tools, what makes your team faster and more efficient? How do you help them speed up?
uh,
How do
our
you get that
biggest
1
thing.
hour?
Yeah, our biggest thing
Because I'll
is
tell you one
always
thing, our team didn't get no 1 hour installs, and even if I
our,
wanted to do one, it still took hour and a half.
yeah. Our biggest thing has just been we standardized on Tommy could probably tell you, but like we're a big Milwaukee shop. So we use the packouts. And the biggest thing there is just forcing people to take the time and to set those up in the same manner. Because like everybody organizes things differently, everybody's mind works differently. But we're like, okay, we can't standardize the organization part, but we can standardize what your tools for that is. And keeping those trips, walking back and forth to the truck is a lot of time. Like
Mhm.
just
Installation
stopping that.
standards too, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
And just the steps in order to do things. And sometimes people fight us on it until they see the difference where well, like, why do I do this first? I'll rather do that first. I'm like, all right, do it that way once, see how it works. And then they see, like, why don't you put the box outside and run it up to this roof and then try to put it through the wall? Why do you drill the hole first and put the box inside and run it out? And then as soon as they have the box in the middle of the run, they do that once and they're like, oh, this is much worse. Like, yeah, that's why I told you to do it the other way. And obviously, there's reasons why you don't take a box of cable up on a roof because gravity works.
yeah.
Yep.
Keeping a box up on a roof. No, that was always like my thing is like getting a guy to walk through with the customer and be like, where is everything gonna go? Like, where does the modem need to be? Where do we plug things in? Because like I can't tell you how many installs I've like shown up to, like the guy is needing help because he's having to do some weird ass cable run. And because the customer's asked this, and it's like, well, why are we putting the
Keep
router here? It's nowhere
teaching
near
your
their
guys
TV.
how to say no, but give the customer options. I think
Yeah.
that's almost an entire class all on itself. I ran into
Politely
that
saying
same thing,
no.
Tommy, all the time. It's not where the customer wants it. What you do is you walk in and you say, what rooms do you use it the most? You don't say, where do you want it? You never say that. You walk in and say, great, where do you use it the most? And that gives you an area. And then you say, okay, well, the Wi-Fi will cover that area. I'm going to put it here. This is where it needs to go, based on, proximity to the dish.
Yeah.
And you just have to tell them power outlet availability, not shoving it behind that 800-pound oak armoire that's going to block half the RF.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to like weasel my way out of like the customer wanting to put it in their laundry room and like around, and it's like no, or like in their furnace room, like it's like down in the corner of the building. You're like,
Or in their metal low voltage box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when you do pre-wires, always go plastic.
Yep.
So
Still probably shouldn't put your router in there, but
yeah. Still shouldn't, but yeah. So all right, what the heck is this, John? FC mail to LC.
Yeah, so that's for our VFLs. Basically the lasers you use to illuminate fiber. So one comes with the VFL, but they are inevitably broken or lost. So I just always make sure they have spares. Usually I just buy 4 8-packs and just leave some in the trucks. So that way they know what strands of fiber that they need to connect to.
Yeah.
Which
I'm actually
have
trying to see if
splicers,
I can find.
but more often than not, we don't have the installers actually splicing fiber, but we make sure all the tools are there just in case.
Yeah, I will do like drop split. I'll let my installers do drop splicing and such. So like they can splice inside the NID on the side of the house, and then actually when I have my full preference, I actually will terminate like the fiber in the NID because I prefer that. And then I want Cat5 running inside the house because Cat5 is way more durable. Yeah. Mark, have you ever, are you a run the fiber in the house kind of guy, or are you a?
So I've worked in multiple places, that took different stances. At Metronet, that's the devil's name, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Metronet. You should never work there. Anyways, yes, they ran it inside, and they would put in a fiber wall plate, which if you're running straight inside and the wall plate is covering it, it works out fairly well. But I'm with you. I need something on the outside. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
They would run the drop straight inside sometimes, depending on who is doing the install.
Oh.
Now you have no, VFL checkpoint. So
yeah.
Not so awesome. I'm more of a house box on the outside that you can, check with some SC connectors and, see what it's doing right there.
Yeah.
I would rather have Cat5 going inside. That way all my wireless and all my fiber installs are the exact same on the inside. It helps on phone support. Back to those standards, right? If you standardize things, now you're making, someone else's job, like the call center, very easy because they're only dealing with the same stuff on the inside of the home every time.
Yeah. I took Tommy's idea and started using the GPEN 21s. So
yeah,
I've used those too. Those too.
Fiber to copper converters. They're so cheap, so cheap. Cheaper than even Mikrotik's own copper to fiber unmanaged device, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but
I love the GPEN.
Yeah, dude, that thing is the best little
You know,
thing
you should
ever.
show a picture of that one,
Yeah.
or put that up in the podcast links, just simply because not enough people know about that Mikrotik product. And if you're doing an active E deployment, oh my
Mhm.
God, it is the best thing you could possibly do.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll do VLANs. It'll do
Yep, it's Switch
SNMP.
OS.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Anyone can. So this is higher price than I recall it being. Maybe they've increased.
That's suggested retail. Most
you know
of
what?
the
Yeah.
distributors have it down to like $21.
Yeah, I've seen it at 17.
Yep, 17 to 21 bucks is what I've seen
Yeah.
inside of all the distributors.
Yeah, it's so cheap. One. Yep. Oh well, Baltic has it. Oh wait, I'm not signed in. Yeah, but yeah, it is super cheap. It is the best little thing ever. I've bought 1,000 of them at least.
Mhm.
And
If only they had a 10 gig version, you know.
that's the 305. It's not quite as cheap, but it's almost there. All right, so yeah, the GPEN. So all right,
Thank you,
what
Mom.
was this, John? Was this PoE injector?
So that's for if we're powering up like Raycoms, or we haven't really used the Airfiber 24 HD in a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
we had it for that as well. So this kind of comes like where the Milwaukee batteries came in, and these step up transformers. Sometimes we take like 48 volts down to 12 and vice versa. 12 volts to 18 up to 48 volts. Installers best friends right here, nut setters. And
Okay, yeah.
the other thing, those Tycons also will do reverse PoE, just like the Mikrotik injectors will.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feed PoE into them, you can take power out of the terminals. So I've kind of DIY'd my own reverse PoE installs with them.
Okay.
So where if we have pops that are their backhaul is coax or another fiber provider or something like that, we will feed PoE to like a box outside from all the units, take DC out there and convert from like 57 volts to 12 volts for the like either DOCSIS modems or whatever else we need.
You do too much voltage conversion, John.
Yeah.
We are installers here. We're just idiots. We just want to ratchet stuff down.
You got to keep things easy.
Out of curiosity, all right. So, what's your guys' take on pass-through socket sets?
You have to have them.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Back to the installers are going to lose everything with it. So really tape up that 13. You know.
Yeah. You only need the 13 for most things around here, but yeah, pass-through sockets. I love
10.
these things. Yeah, 13 and the 10. Yeah. These things are the best. Well, yeah.
Although you should keep the 7 handy for any time you get a cyclu, because who in the hell uses 7? Apparently cyclu.
Ubiquity straps.
Hose clamps, yeah, the hose clamps, yeah, our 7s too.
So ours, what always gets lost is our 13, our 11, our 15, and our 7 millimeter. That's always what get lost because that's mostly what we use. Yeah. Because there again, like the bigger radios and stuff have 15.
Wow, you're nice. You actually color code them for your installers.
Oh, speaking of color code, I'll take color code tape and I'll wrap the handles of my tools with it. So I'll do like a little crisscross candy cane style. And I've done that for years, ever since, the cable company in like 2002, when people would start jacking my tools out of my truck or say, hey, let me come help you. And all of a sudden now you're missing, your 7/16.
Yeah.
So this isn't exactly what I was looking for, but it's Michael's, so I think it's hilarious. But yeah, these paint pens, I use the heck out of these for like labeling stuff. because I can just mark on whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's plastic, paper, or metal, I can just take the cap off, shake it out, and I can just start marking and be like, hey, this is what this is. And so like I can mark all my cables really nice and such for like drops. I can be like, hey, this is red drop. This one goes over to whatever this building is, and everything's labeled. Paint markers are magical and glorious, and
labeling. So you're color coding. You're not just sticking a like a brother label maker flag on it.
So if there's space, but like on cabling and such, it's going into my into handholds and such. I've not had a good success keeping those to stick in, although we do have these
on the fiber.
Yeah.
Are you guys all on the fiber side now? Does nobody WISP anymore? Isn't that what we are?
We're still hybrid, so we do both. So for us, it comes down to like subscriber density. Once we get to a certain density, it just makes more sense for us to run fiber versus staying fixed wireless. Even though people swear by the like Cambium, like the CN wave, but I have it, and no. the fiber is so much simpler.
Terragraph versus fiber isn't a question, really. Terragraph is more of a I cannot deploy fiber option, and even then, there's with 6 gig coming out, like you could stick up a pole, put one fat sector on it, and just go.
Yeah, you aim. I like the 60 gigahertz, and I think that there's some locations where it's definitely more useful and super great. But like I've had more success with it being backhaul technology than customer access. This is cute. Who here is doing phone? And do I need to shoot you?
No. Why would you do that? We do. Taxes are horrible, and there's so many troubles that come with it.
Yeah. So what we do is, we also do like emergency controls. So alarm, fire, elevator, heart monitors, everything. So most of the time around John, here,
you're a glutton. You're a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
Yeah, you're doing voice. You're doing voice. You're doing copper line VoIP.
Yeah, because almost 99% of the time, the POTS lines going to the property are bad, and good old CenturyLink won't fix it. They're like, "Yep, they're bad, and we're not going to fix it." And so we'll set up ATAs like these in the utility rooms, and then run most of the time new cable to wherever we have to. So these things are actually pretty awesome because we can put like a line per port. So we can put like 8 lines on this one. So if you got like 8 to 10 units or so, we've just stacked these. Grandstream also makes like 48 port versions as well. Which
I like Grandstream ATAs.
Yeah, that's what we use.
I hate their phones. I love their ATAs.
I'm going to give Villo a plug here. We have straight up tested with John Gill our Villo 6 versus the new Grandstream Wi-Fi 6, and we smoked it. So I'm just going to say that. Grandstream's great on ATA. Stay away from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, that's like, oh, congratulations, Villo. You beat up the you beat up the crippled kid.
Actually, John Gill is working on getting me some tester unit for the Villo 6.
I got a buddy. I got the Villo 6 stuff for. He says he loves it. It's kicking butt. All right, so you like this one. This is like, sometimes I get really frustrated with like the wire stripper stuff because they just put too much on here, and this is borderline too much for me.
These have been a pretty good balance for me. To where I've had some of the other, like, I think Klein kind of goes a little crazy, where their base ones are awesome, and then once you get the more expensive ones, like, okay, now, yeah, it's getting too much stuff. But these are a pretty good balance. I like having the pliers on there. I think that, and then the deep cutters and stuff like that, it's like all you need. I've never used bolt cutters on them. They
Yeah,
just
I was
really don't
looking
work
at that.
well.
I couldn't imagine, like, if it's a really thin, yeah, that would just not be,
It doesn't work.
that would be a nightmare in my opinion.
So I just ignore that. That doesn't exist to me. The one thing that did kind of disappoint me with those is the cutters do not cut messenger wires.
Oh yeah,
You'll just ruin your blade, to where their snips are actually, I love those snips. They are sharp.
always have a good pair of snips, man.
Yeah.
Mark, do you have a preferred brand for snips?
No, you know what? Whatever works, man.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's always Klein, but you know, frankly, I'll just go to like Menards and just grab some. Was it General Electric or Greenlee or whatever's
Yeah.
clever? You know,
That's
you know what?
mine.
It snips. It'll either cut good or it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just like Kinipex for the longevity. Like, if I have an installer that does a good job, but just frequently loses all their stuff, I will just get the Greenlee and just, here you go, man. There you go.
Yeah. See, I lose my stuff too frequently.
Where Kinipex,
I'm a terrible person.
last
I know.
forever.
And all right. So also,
So
don't
I got
ever get me these ones. The springs one.
I hate those.
Yeah.
I got a pro tip. So
yeah.
For all the teams out there losing everything, a lot of the problem comes when they start leaving stuff in different places during the install. You know, you leave stuff outside, you need to take everything, work in one area. So every time you've got that box of cable out, you set and you're not using your tool bag for a minute, or you set some supplies down, anything. You set it all right next to a major landmark, or if you're inside the home, set it next to the front door and only come in and out one way. That's the secret. You know, if you only come in and out one way, and you're not taking every door, the back patio door, and you know, going all around, it creates a flow, and you're going to walk past your tools every single time.
And only having one spot, that helps so much.
Yeah, only put things in one spot. You know, on the outside, put it by your ladder, right? Like, just, you know, a couple feet away from your ladder so you don't trip and fall on under something. But and then inside, put it right next to the front door.
Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. The other thing that's helped us a lot is just making everybody put like organize their packouts right. So that way it makes it easier for them to put it back. Yeah. It makes it easier for them to put it back and then to set it somewhere else.
I will say that this tool here though is magical. Everybody needs a vibratory tool, and everybody needs one of these.
Yep.
Never used.
They even make
I've just never needed to.
Dude, it's so fast.
2 seconds. Drywall saw and it only takes me 2 seconds too.
No, literally.
I got 20 years in the game, so you know, sure, but
and it's straight and it's even. You never screw it up.
So big. Man. It's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes so much noise too. You have to like tell the customer, "Hey, I'm gonna make a lot of noise really quick."
Yeah, but it only takes a few seconds and it's done. And it's not crooked. Like that. Yeah. That's my.
I don't make mine crooked either, but
yeah.
Then again, you know, not everybody's, you know, going to be your either A-lister or, you know, someone's got a lot of experience, or they're just attention to detail. You're going to get installers of all calibers.
Yeah, we used to have the Home Depot stencil with the level on it, and I would straight up have people throw those on there crooked and not look at the bubble.
Yep.
And I'm like, there's a level in it.
So you know what I like to do is I'll take the mud ring and I'll just poke in the corners, right?
Yep.
And then I'll just go, like half an inch past that and just do a nice square cut, and it covers it up every time. I have this.
Yeah.
I have this Starkey can wrench.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
It's very much needed. Before we would just boot the pedestals.
If you do, if you're doing MDUs or you're doing, fiber peds, 100% you need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually would save, like, I have like 4 or 5 different like keys that are in my bag for the various stuff. This looks like it has all the ones that I need.
It does, and you can get it cheaper than that too, by the way. I was gonna say you should find it for around 15.
Okay. Yeah. Duly noted. All right. That'd be nice. Little VFL action. So you like these ones, John?
They work. They're cheap.
It's red light, man.
I haven't needed any more features than that.
Does it turn on? Does it blink?
Exactly.
You need a red light and a light meter, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And,
if your installer needs an OTDR, you've really screwed up somewhere.
You have. It's a bad day. Yeah, no, you do not. Installers do not need OTDR. That is diagnostics. Who cut our cable?
Yeah, it's plant maintenance only.
Yeah. If your splicing team means that your installers need an OTDR to figure out what's going on, there's
get rid of your splicing team.
Yeah, your splicing team needs work.
Yeah.
Elsewhere. Definitely.
I use that little orange one. Scroll down to the bottom there, that little orange light meter with VFL. But I keep a VFL as well. So I do keep the same VFL that John showed. That little $12 Chinese one.
Yeah. And the reason you want the light meter with its own with an injector is so that you can test where your where your big loss is super easy. Like and like if you have and pre-test cables before you run them into the customer's house. So like if you're doing if you're doing inside house drop cable, I make my guys do all of them. Only like once have we had.
I got an argument that I want to hear from you guys.
Okay.
MST, direct splice, or the lesser kind where you'll have the splitter inside the splice case.
Okay, for running GPEN stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you guys MST people?
So
it doesn't save time, and I've wanted to argue this with someone forever.
So
MSTs don't save time.
MST is like pre-connectorized.
Yeah, pre-connectorized drops do not save time at all.
No, and you have to drill such a huge hole.
No, well, that's. I mean, you would unspool it, and then just run the tail in. So I'm talking for outside plant.
Yeah. For outside. Okay.
For outside plant, it doesn't save time. You have to you have to carry additional inventory. You have to carry all these extra SKUs, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys have to pre-measure. It's like, hey, do I need to take a 500 or a 300 foot drop? Like all this extra work goes into it. It rather than just splicing a pigtail on and putting it inside the splice case.
Yeah, I don't see around here, like all of the big guys all have pre-terminated drops, and there's just loops on all the telephone poles.
They're on backwards, by the way. When they come on the spool, that cardboard spool for the MST drop, they're on backwards. All right, you've got your plug that you're supposed to put up on there, but you can't unspool. Like you have to physically unspool it by hand and then deal with it, and that's where you lose all your time.
Yeah, and risk them knotting it up and shit. redo it again, and or just pull on it and break it, one or the other. And
yeah, it just causes more problems than it solves in my world. But
yeah,
you know,
and it around here, like we just have big loops on the poles because they're just so like, if we just order the 500-foot ones, we can also do the 200 and 300-foot runs with it.
And yeah, and then you're losing, I mean, you're supposed to put the pre-terminated part on the pole first, run it to the home, and then just trim the tail to whatever length you need. But
here
you have
they
to spool the
pre-terminate
whole
both
thing
sides.
out.
Yeah, no, that's
They
the only one
pre-terminate
that
both
I've
sides.
Yeah,
They just
no, that's
put
the only pre-terminated that I've ever encountered.
Yeah,
Well,
they
there's
just put these
pre-terminated ones
boxes.
with just a tail.
Yeah,
okay?
and
they
I've
come
seen
in different
those.
lengths.
Those would be
But-
nice, but I don't get
Well-
to use those.
Yeah, but even then, you still have the way they're on the spool. You have the tail is at the bottom, right?
Why?
So, thank you.
Good question.
Thank you. It doesn't make sense. You have to unspool the whole thing in order to deal with it. So when you're dealing with 1,000-foot MST drop, you have to deal with 1,000 feet of fiber, figure S it up and down the road, watch people drive on it because they're ignoring your cones. And then you have to take it up the pole and figure out how to get it over there. It's just a nightmare. I think MSTs are the worst thing that fiber ever invented. I want to fight somebody about it.
Oh yeah, I can't argue with you on it. I'd rather have my, and that's why I have my installer guys have some level of splicing knowledge, because then they could just terminate. So
Yeah,
like, pull the drop to there,
Even-
terminate with the pigtail. That's all you got to do, and it's simple.
Yep.
Terminating with pigtail is cheap.
So
I
for
think I
as
sent
awful
you
as
the
Metronet
pigtails
was,
we use.
Yeah, you did. I didn't click
And,
it because I was like, oh, well, there's more stuff. There's too many buttons.
for as awful as Metronet was, I loved their design. I mean, I've worked in enough fiber networks to say I've got a sample size. I've seen how everyone does, different things. But what I loved the most was the channel, like Green Hornet, the G6, G5.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with a splitter in it. And the drop insertion is great. You got this rubber grommet, so you stick it through there's a bunch of different ports on the bottom of it. Can you pull that up, Tommy?
Yeah.
So we got some frame of reference. Channel G5 splice with splitter.
Like
And scroll down to images, and it's the second image. So it's the one standing up, second row down, second one from the right.
Second one from the right.
Or sorry, second one from the left, middle row.
That's good.
There you go. Yep. No.
Nope.
Here, I'll just Facebook it to you.
Okay. And let's see.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh, okay. Nope. Oh, how did I lose
Yep.
this?
So anyways, at the bottom, you've got all these, you use your can wrench and you just open it up, and now you've got an open port in your splice case. You don't have to do any special add-ons. And then you've got this rubber grommet that creates tension. So you put a little bit of their special snot, goop that dries fairly quickly, and you stick it in and you pull the grommet back down so that it wedges, because it's formed in a wedge shape. So it's so easy to insert the drop. So you splice it on the ground, right? Like at the base of the pole. And then you take it up with the pigtail on it and you just poke it in. There's no, and it works that way for all the channel splice enclosure stuff. It's all grommet and tension based, and it's perfectly waterproof, man. I've done hundreds of these, and I hate the CommScope Boss cases. It's too much work. Oh my God, you're setting too much up. Too many alligator clips, too many hose clamps. I can't. I'm no good at it. I don't like FOSS cases. I can do them, but I don't like them.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So here's some more views on it. And yeah, that looks pretty slick. And then so you have your feeder in here, and then your drop cables up down here.
Exactly. It's
And
got a splitter already in it. So all you do is splice on a pigtail. And now you've eliminated extra SKUs that you have to carry in your warehouse. You've simplified the installation for the tech, right? You know, there's really nothing to disorganize in it. You just, you know, you start from the back and work your way to the front. That's it. It just stays clean, and I think it's really easy.
yeah, and then a 1x8 splitter, like that's really hard
Put whatever
to
you
the
want.
light level.
1x4, yeah, 1x4, 1x8. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's not bad. And then that's just like a little inline splitter somewhere in here. It's probably what it would be. So cool.
And, yeah.
Well, I think
there's
we're
extra
getting
trays.
a little bit tight too on time. That's cool. I like this. Maybe we should have done like a fiber versus wireless installers.
Oh,
put these
man.
things up.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we should have organized
You
that a
want to
little
take
bit more.
vacations? Probably fiber.
You want to take vacation? Well, yeah, just the tools set, because there's just so many of these. But let's see here. Power bank. Let's see. I've always been a DeWalt guy, but that's just because my first place was a DeWalt place, and then I got to choose my tools after that.
I'm
But
a DeWalt guy too, but I had to start going Harbor Freight just from the sheer amount of loss associated with the techs, or just the damage.
Label maker. All right. Well, I'll put all these together on the video. I will link for all this different stuff that we talked about. Tools. So yeah, if anyone ever wants to send in like their favorite tool list, I'd be more than happy to update it of, hey, these are the tools that guys love. And
that would be interesting just to have. It would be cool to like take the time and see like everybody's, here's what we run with every single day kind of thing, and just kind of compare them all.
Yeah. Which ones do you use, and which ones are like, I would just say, what do you use every day? No need to do a, hey, this was a terrible thing, because sometimes you just get a bad one. But yeah, definitely like, what do you use every day list? That could be kind of fun. Definitely. So, all right, well, we'll consider that. John, if people out on the internet want to get a hold of you, what should they do?
Call my wife.
What's the name of your WISP and FIS?
GeekFi Internet and GeekFi Wi-Fi. And
where in Arizona are you?
All over, everywhere from Yuma all the way to Kingman. But primarily our main network is in South Phoenix. That's where we started, and that's actually where we deployed our fiber and everything, and everywhere else we're pretty much wireless. And well, yeah, we drive all over. We just started building out in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico as well. So now we're international. Yay.
Oh, yay.
One of those dirty international corporations ruining the world for everyone. So Mark, if people on the internet, they want to get a hold of you or ask questions about Villo, how do they get a hold?
I would say the quickest and easiest way is jump into the Villo ISP group. So you can find that on isp.villoliving.com, or get there, request a portal account, and we'll get you into the Facebook group too. Okay.
And then let's see, I am out there on the internet usually. I actually, somebody randomly made me a admin and a moderator for Mikrotik experts. Like, I don't know who did it, because I was like, I'm just there to, like, on occasion somebody will post something obnoxious and like supremely not helpful, And it's like, that is what I'm there for, is to call them out and be like, hoo, I don't actually contribute. I'm just making fun jokes here. Like, let me Google that for you. Links is what is my pastime on that group. So I'm a terrible person. Why would you make me an admin? I just want to watch the world burn. So you can find me there. You can find me all over the place. LostCreek.tech, and all the various Facebook groups and such. So we'll be back and making more stuff here in 2 weeks. And thanks guys for showing up.
Yeah. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, John.
Thank you guys.
So people can start searching, shooting up the web in neighborhoods, net surfing. We got horrible jokes, we're loud and annoying, but we're informative facts, we're not disappointing. Just give us a listen, cause fun is the mission. I'm telling you, you don't know what you are missing. Ideas and some good comedy given. If you missed the show already, don't worry, you're forgiven.